The F-15 Eagle, the most gangster fighter jet of all time. Oh, no. So we've already gone over the F-22 and its apparent superiority to the F-15 platform. But I'm very curious. I saw that there's a video on the F-15. So I need to know. I need to know how Fat Electrician presents this, because this is going to be outright amazing.
Today we're talking about the most gangster fighter jet of all time, the F-15 Eagle.
That's impressive in terms of hardware. Yeah. This is, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the American muscle car equivalent of a fighter jet. Developed during the Cold War in the early 1970s, it was designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to establish air superiority. And being that this was the 1970s and stealth technology wasn't going to come out for another decade, Uncle Sam had to rely on good old-fashioned horsepower and gunpowder. He figured if you couldn't be sneaky enough to go unnoticed, you just had to be fast enough to go untouched. And that is...
I mean, this is a really... yeah, no, that makes sense, right? If you are going... It is an arms race for all intents and purposes. The Cold War, for all intents and purposes, was an arms race. And wow, the fact that, yeah, because modern stealth technology hadn't been invented as far as we're aware, right? Sorry for the pause, champ. Yeah, no, that's how you would do it. You take what you got and what you can, and you just crank the best thing out you got.
Is exactly what they did with the F-15, because it is equipped with two Pratt & Whitney F-100 engines, totaling 19,200 horsepower, which is like 800,000 water chickens. This plane can travel at a max speed of Mach 2.5, which is roughly 1,900 miles an hour. And here's the kick.
Technically, if it's 2.5 Mach 2.5, isn't that faster than the F-22? It's faster than the F-22's top speed?
It's not just fast, it's quick. And if you don't know the difference, I'll elaborate. You can build up speed slowly and be fast. But being quick is the ability to be fast in a hurry. And the F-15 is like a drag car. It is fast the minute you hit the throttle. So fast, in fact, that you can argue that it could be classified as a rocket. Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna nerd out for a second. Generally speaking, aircrafts need to do two things to fly. They need to generate lift and thrust. They need to generate enough lift to counteract gravity, so the physical weight of the aircraft, and they need to generate enough thrust to counteract drag. But here's the thing.
I think we went over this in one of the Martin Pants Kerbal Space program videos. Yeah, no, like this tracks, yeah. Basic, how do we not be on the ground? How do we keep going? For all intents and purposes.
With the F-15, it has a greater than 1 thrust to weight ratio, meaning that it can generate enough pounds of thrust to offset drag and the weight of the aircraft, meaning it doesn't need to generate lift to sustain flight, which is what a fucking rocket does. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you the F-15 doesn't need to generate lift. It can just beat the atmosphere into submission.
That is some America right there, though, right? Like that's some America. Just being able to just outpower forces of nature to keep yourself going.
F-15 could literally have its wings chopped off in mid-flight and it would still be able to fly. And I can already hear the comment section now. The chubby electron guy is so dumb he needs to go back to high school physics class. That's not how any of this works. No, that's exactly how this works. And guess what? If you don't want to believe me and what's theoretically possible on paper, you don't have to, because this has already happened in real.
It's already happened in real life. That's actually amazing. I love his keyboard warrior skits because it's so true. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, if it's a subject that I'm versed on, right? Like, I've talked about a number of nerdy comments, right? A number of nerdy subjects. And then I feel like I have some realm to speak on, right? I mean, yeah, I guess I will put, like, paragraphs on that. But especially if I don't know the subject, I've never really delved into just, oh, you're wrong because this. It's like, what's the citation? What's the source? The things I always say, right? Clearly, he's about to provide the citation and the source.
Real life. In 1983, an F-15 had a mid-air collision, completely lost one wing, and then proceeded to fly 10 more miles and then land safely. Okay, and if that's not enough proof that it's basically a rocket, you can look at how an F-15 takes off. I'll show you the footage. The minute it clears the runway, it goes straight vertical and breaks the sound barrier. It is one of the only planes on the planet that can do that.
Yeah. It just works.
Well, even if it is that fast, common sense dictates that they had to make a bunch of design compromises, and I bet the F-15 has hardly any firepower because of it.
On what grounds? Like, and that's I know it's a skit, but I know there's people that ask questions like this. I've seen people ask stupid questions like this, and it's like, on what grounds? Like, are you going to provide anything? And I have to rant about it, like, because it's such a common thing nowadays, right? It's like, it's such a common thing for someone to substitute seemingly their own reality and their own answers into everything. And it's like, oh, well, this is just common sense dictates this, and it doesn't work. And it's like, okay, predicated on what? Like, showcase, like, what are you trying to get across here? Compromising the firepower capacity? Have you researched what what firepower is on the F-15, which I'm sure Fat Electrician is going to go into, right? It's such a problem because we do exist in kind of this weird modern day limbo of people that like are aggressively ignorant, if that makes sense. Like, and I'm not, and just in just a strictly logical capacity, right? Like, there's people that will say, like, you know, something stupid about, like, what can I say that's not going to draw actual, like, aggro? Like, people are going to just say blatant things like, like, military personnel don't deal with PTSD. They're trained to deal with it. Predicated on what? Do you even know what that means? Do you even know what you just said? Clearly not. Like, and that's the thing, is that then they can get away with it because therefore they've initiated that conversation and they can backtrack at any moment or double down, and enough people will come to their aid because they're being seen as the victim. It's actually a problem. And so, circling back, that's why I do like segments like these, because I've seen people ask these questions. I've seen people do this. And I love that the Fat Electrician is just like, look, this is why you're wrong. This is how I know. It's such a power play.
You know what? For once, you're right. That is what common sense would dictate, because that's what every other country does. If they want to go really fast, they either have to sacrifice firepower or maneuverability. However, here's what you're not taking into consideration. This is America. We don't make sense. We make dollars, and this thing has more firepower than any other fighter jet in the American fleet. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you considered America?
More bombs, more missiles, and on the off chance that isn't enough, it's also equipped with an M61 Vulcan 20mm Gatling cannon in case it needs to tell somebody to get fucked at 6,000 rounds per minute.
Yeah. Hit zoom. Jesus.
So just so we're all on the same page, even though the F-15 is over 50 years old, it is still the fastest and most heavily armed fighter jet in the American fleet. And if I mentioned that it can also go like 3,000 miles without needing to refuel, meaning that it's also extremely versatile logistically speaking, because it can fly from America to Europe without needing aerial refueling. And here's the kicker, none of that is the reason it's the most gangster fighter jet of all time. It's the most gangster fighter jet of all time because this thing is the epitome of a pro gamer move. It is a real world combat record of 104-0. It is downed 104 enemy aircrafts and been shot down 0 times in return. It is the only aircraft to lose a wing, continue flying, and land safely. It's the only aircraft to ever shoot down a satellite while it was still in outer space. Yeah. America did that during the Cold War. We shot down one of our own spy satellites to send a message to the Soviet Union that we could do it to their satellites too. And
that's a power play. I actually didn't know this, and that's why I love the Fat Electrician. He clearly knows what he's talking about. He brings facts. He brings citations. I didn't know about this. That's such a power play, and I love it.
My personal favorite, it is the only aircraft to ever score an air-to-air kill using a bomb. Not an air-to-air missile, a bomb. Yeah, in 1991, during Desert Storm, it actually hit a moving Mi-24 Hind helicopter with a GBU-10 bomb. Yeah, this one.
Wow.
That is a 2,000-pound general-purpose bomb, and it just hit...
Get that man an Xbox Live achievement. Just
a moving helicopter with it. That is absolutely unheard of. In conclusion, while the F-15 is no longer the best fighter jet on the planet because it's been replaced by the F-22 Raptor, I feel pretty confident in saying that it will go down in history as the greatest fighter jet of all time. And that history is still being written because America is coming out with another F-15, the F-15EX Eagle II. And that's going to have to be its own video some other time. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
I would watch that. I'd watch it on the new F-15. Obviously, there's things about this that I can't know for obvious security reasons, and I'm perfectly fine. There's certain things I don't need to know. There's certain things that I never need to know, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Do not. I've had people be like, "Hey, Kip, I want to tell you things," but and they like start hesitating. I'm like, "Just don't tell me things. I don't need to know. It's not worth your job. It's not worth safety. It's not." This is absolutely amazing, though. Like, yeah, no. And considering we went over the F-22, like, the fact that that it has a 41 to 1 against F-15s is wild. Like, that is some arms race end game right there. But alas, what are your thoughts on it? Have you had the privilege of piloting an F-15? Have you seen them in action? Have you I don't know. I can't say certain things because War Thunder definitely received documents and I don't want documents. Let me know fun things in the comment section. I will see you in the next one.